Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Next Level Real Talk Podcast, where we have conversations on the journey of personal transformation and the pursuit of lasting peace and happiness with Sheldon and David. And welcome back to another episode of Next Level Real Talk with Sheldon and David. How's it going, everybody?
Yeah. Welcome back. Hope you had that smile on. Hope you had a good week, and hope you checked your mood sometime. That was your homework. Hope you had sort of going through something. You checked your mood and realized where it was supposed to be, and made great of it, and had a great week.
Yes, awesome. Dave's always putting out the homework for you to do, whether you're doing it or not, paying attention. But hopefully you have, and it's helped. And as you can see, we have another awesome guest here, Chris. He is a friend of mine I met through our work, and just had some pretty powerful conversations when we were talking, Chris, right? Getting to know each other, and it was weird because it felt like there was a lot of things that were sort of similar, and we were just like, holy shit, wow, that's kind of wild. And we had some experiences that felt similar in certain ways, right? And so when Dave and I were talking about doing this podcast and bringing people on, and we said, hey, at some point we'll bring people on to hear their stories, you were one of the first ones that kind of popped in the head. It's like, oh man, this dude will have a great story. So it's been a little bit of time, so we've finally got you out here, so thank you for taking the time out of your day.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know, you want to just start in and tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your story? And
who's Chris?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm Chris, and kind of grew up in the Monterey area. I was born in Frankfurt, Germany. My dad was in the Army, served 26 years, and Mom was very successful in the job that she was doing. And so just life in the Monterey Peninsula was like, like silver spoon fed is what I want to say, where everything that I ever needed was within my grasp. And, it was just kind of like, sorry, I'm getting stuck, but, I kind of wanted to do all the things to make my family happy. I watched my brother make his mistakes, and then I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to learn from his mistakes and be like this perfect child. So very like upbringing was very good. And then as I got to the end of high school, well, probably even before that, I was really into basketball, and then I had this situation where coach didn't even want to see me because of color, size, height, and those things. And so he was like, "You're not going to make the team." And I was really well known from what I remember growing up. So I kind of went into a little form of depression. I didn't want to do anything, and I just wanted to, quit school, quit life, and things like that. And so I started to try and figure out different things that I can, kind of partake in. Didn't really want to pursue so much, but it was kind of like a weed and drinking and things of that sort. And so the real change started when I was 18, and had an argument with my family, and I didn't want to hear it. That's the point where I felt like I knew it all, and so I was like, I don't got to listen to you. I'm gonna
like us all at 18, right?
Yeah.
At that age, 17, 16.
So I moved to a friend's house in San Jose, and we kind of just had this kind of relationship where we hung out, and we that was just it. If we were close and we hung out, then I had a place to stay. But when we didn't see eye to eye, that was when I got kicked out. So at 18 years old, I had a job, but I was living inside of my car, and I kind of did that for a year, and very prideful situation. And
did people know you were doing that?
Did people know that I was living in my car?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I had a set of friends, and I would go, and it was like a Monday through Saturday I had a place to go, and Sunday I kind of, just stayed in my own space, and I just circled around these friends, pretended like I fell asleep on their couch, and then woke up
Oh,
the next morning. Oh my gosh, I got to go to work. Can I use your shower real quick? You have something to eat? I was really
Mhm.
close to their family, their parents, and so it just seemed so natural, right?
Yeah.
oh wow. So
And
you were hiding
I
it
just,
basically. No one,
yeah,
they
I was
didn't.
hiding it.
Wow.
Wow.
They didn't know. It wasn't until I got to the end of my rope in my pride, and I called my parents because I couldn't do it anymore. So I called my parents, and I said, "Hey, I appreciate everything that you've done for me. I've been living in my car, and just wondering if I can come home." And so
Wow.
they're like, "Well, why didn't you call me a long time ago, right? Like, why didn't you?" You act
Pride.
like we wouldn't take you in, right? And so I was like, I don't know. And so, anyways, kind of got my trying to change things, and I in between there, I got really addicted to meth. So there were nights where I was just hanging out, and a lot of these guys knew my brother, so they're like, no. We're not going to be the reasons why you get started in this. You know what I mean? And so it wasn't until I was like, I'm my own guy. I'm going to do the things that I want to do. If I want to participate in what you're participating, I want to participate in it. You know what I mean? And they're like, okay, well, here, let me hand this to you. And so that started a ring of addiction from 98 to 2005,
Wow.
and when I came home, I continued my addiction, and I continued my addiction. I was one of those functioning addicts where,
Mm.
I can do whatever I wanted to do, but still enjoy my thing.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty crazy. So 2002, I met my now wife, or 2001, I'm sorry, 2001, I met my now wife. We got pregnant really, really early. So the next year, 2002, I ended up having my son. And I was still in the addiction for another 3 years after that. It was
Ooh.
even to the point of being in the birth room and using and stuff like that. So just
Wow.
really, really out of it. And
Did she
then,
know?
you know, she didn't know until a little bit later after he was born.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's like this mother's intuition or something like that, because I would find places that I think that I can hide it at, and she would find it. Hey, what's this? Oh, it's not mine, it's my friend's, type stuff.
Oh, yeah. The typical.
you know yeah, yeah. And she would
Wow.
find it every single time. Sometimes she would find me at the person's house that I would get my stuff from. And and she would come with my son, and she's like, hey, we're waiting outside for you. Why are you here? And
Oh.
she would wait until I get out. So she saved me multiple times. And I wasn't able to see what it was until I had this incident where I was driving, and I was behind a car, and there was maybe about a line of 12 cars to my right. And I decided, okay, I'm at the stoplight, let me try and use something real quick. So I use, and then I let my foot off the brake pedal, and then I nudged the car in front of me.
Mm.
So that little nudge got her attention, and then she was like, "Hey, we got to go across to the shoulder." So she goes, she proceeds to do that, and I'm still looking in my side view mirror, still see about 15 to 20 cars now packed up, and I was like, "There's no way she's gonna catch me." So I
Oh.
That's the meth brain
Took
thinking
off.
right there, right? Hey, this sounds like a good idea. And I know because I've been there,
it
brother.
was
You know that.
Yes, yeah.
it was
Okay.
so messed up, but
Yeah.
anyways,
Wow.
I took off, and she ended up in her car, just getting right behind me, and she followed me through city streets, through little highways and things like that, and to a point where I'm in the middle of a residential neighborhood, and then I'm surrounded by the sheriff's department. And
Oh.
this was my um, rock bottom moment, was when a sheriff pulled me out the car, put a gun to my head, and said, "I'm gonna have to kill you." if you move. And so I was like, what am I doing here? Just that epiphany, like, what am I doing here? Why am I here?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be here. There
Yeah.
should not be this opportunity. I have a son now. He's almost 3. I have a daughter that's on the way, and I'm about to go to jail for a hit and run that if I would have just pulled over, I would have still been in my addiction. Nothing would have changed.
Yeah.
You know what I
Mm,
mean?
Would have been
So
a
it's kind
bumper.
of one of those.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you just
It
tapped it.
wasn't
What do you
even a
mean? Yeah, no
bumper. It was
damage.
like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just tapped it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we could have looked at the bumper and we've been like, oh, okay, there's nothing. Let's go ahead and go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it didn't end up turning that way. So,
Wow. So
some things happen for a reason, right?
yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, I gotta ask you a real quick question, Chris. So with your son, you said
Sure.
you're on meth and all that, and you were during the process. So when your daughter, said your daughter, right? Daughter was born. Was that what was the difference
Yeah.
experience? Did you say like, wow, I missed that with my son because I was high or whatever? Was there a difference? I mean,
Well,
I mean, were you on drugs so much that you really didn't experience the first birth? That makes sense. You understand?
I did,
Kind of.
I was there. I was there for the birth. We had a lot of great memories being built up. Like I said, I was very functional,
Okay.
but to the point where I was stubborn and selfish. I was only thinking about myself. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So, um, the experience of being able to be there for my son from day one, it wasn't there.
mm,
It wasn't there. It was just like a glimpse of goodness, and I only saw good until I couldn't see it anymore.
mm.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
So you're
So
arrested.
Yeah.
so I'm arrested. I'm
Sorry.
arrested, and I'm put in there, and I'm in one of the blocks, and I call my wife first, and I said, hey, you know what, I'm in here. This is what happened. This was the reason, and I just let it all out. I said, this is why I'm here, and I said, but do me a favor, don't bail me out, please. Don't. If
Mm.
you want to come visit me, you can come visit me, but leave me here. I'm going to call my mom next, and I'm going to let her know the same thing that's going on, but I'm going to tell her the same thing. Don't come see me. Don't bail me out. Let me go through this process. You know what I mean? Don't cripple me from having to experience what I put
Oh,
myself into.
Yeah. You
You
wanted
know.
yeah.
to own it and
So
feel it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
I wanted it all.
Did
And
did
so
you did you
so
tell them that it was
go
drug
ahead.
related at the time? Did you tell your wife?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. She already knew that I was in my
Yep.
addiction
Yep.
after
Yep.
finding out so many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
there's so many times where it's like, hey, I'm not doing it anymore, and then she catches it. Hey,
Yeah.
no, I just,
Yep.
I just
Yep.
wanted a hint, and no,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it anymore. I
Yeah.
stopped.
I'm good. I'm good.
So
Yeah.
all the lies, all the betrayal, all of those things. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it even got to the point where I was, betraying everybody that was close to me,
Yep.
my own brother, my mom, my dad, anybody who cared about me. It was all about me and nobody else. And so very selfish, very stubborn, and that's kind of what the addiction does, right?
That's
You
what
only kind of
addiction
think
does.
about yourself.
There's nobody who's
Um,
addicted who's not selfish. I mean, it's just part of the deal. I mean,
Really?
oh yeah, 100%. It just sounds mean to
right.
say that to somebody who it doesn't realize what they're doing. But if you're in addiction, you're being selfish because everything that you
Oh,
do is kind of centers on making sure that that addiction is met first.
oh, okay.
Period. And that could be addiction to work and money,
And everybody
right?
else is wrong, by the
Yep.
way.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can be greedy addicted
It could
to,
be.
making tons of
Yeah.
money, but what are you going to
Yeah.
do? You're going to work late, whether your wife wants you to home for dinner and you're going to miss your kids thing and and it's the same kind of thing. It's a very selfish thing when you think about
Mm,
it. You're acting because
good
you're
point.
doing what you want to do. And you have and with drugs, it's different because you kind of have to too. There's this real strong pull to do it, right? But you're
Yeah.
also that's just the way your mind works when you're in that, right? I mean,
In that
it
state. Yeah.
is. It is,
Right.
You are, and it's inherently selfish, right? And
Right. Right.
so you were in that. You decide that's intense, dude. So you said, you know what? I need to feel this and experience every moment of it, and I don't even want to be rescued from it. Was there like self-pity and shame, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna sort of self-punishment at that time too, like almost like you're punishing yourself a little bit, right?
Yeah. Well, I had to hold myself accountable to it,
Yep.
and the only way that I was going to ever understand what I put everybody through was to go through my own self accountability, own self pity,
Hmm.
my own situation, and live and breathe that. Like when I was in there, I didn't. Maybe it was the addiction, but I didn't sleep for 3 days.
Wow.
And I for some reason the number three was is like super apparent, but for 3 days I didn't. I didn't sleep. I was crying. I was I used my shirt as like a curtain so nobody can see what's going on with me in my bunk. I was
Mm.
feeling all of this shame that was going on, and that was when I first was handed a Bible. To be quite honest with you,
Oh
Hmm.
wow.
we always had we've always had the big Bible inside of the house, and it was kind of one of those shrine things. Like you don't touch it, you don't look at it,
Mhm.
you're gonna die, type of stuff. And that's where I was handed this Bible, and I was like, okay, cool. What do I do with it? You know what I
I do
mean?
with it. Yeah.
Um, so I opened it up, first page, Genesis 1:1, and in the beginning. And so I was like, okay, so I automatically started reflecting, and I was like, okay, so I get an opportunity to have a new beginning. You
Mm.
know what I mean? And there was this picture of Jesus praying in Gethsemane, and it was under the TV. And so when everybody was asleep, it must have been 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. That was the first time that I ever got on my knees, and I was like, God, I don't know how to do this. I was like,
Uh-huh.
what am I doing? I don't know how to pray. So let me just tell you how I feel, and then see how it all turns out. So um,
Mm.
I closed my eyes and I said the most sincere prayer, and I was like, hey, take me away from all of the people who would lead me into this addiction. Take away all of the opportunities. Take away, all of these connections that again would lead me to this. Help me be a better father. Help me be a better husband to my girlfriend. Help me be a better member of society. Help me. You know what I mean? I just want to change, and I can't do this without you. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do it. I am so stuck in so much shame that I don't know what the next step is. And so, can you help me do this? And if you do this, the whole cliche thing, if you do this, I'm going to dedicate my life to you.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so I opened up my eyes, and it was like a monkey was actually lifted off of me. I felt it so spiritually. I felt it come off,
Wow.
and
That's awesome.
at that the next day, I called my wife, and I was like, hey, do you want to read the Bible with me? You know,
Mm.
I feel changed already. I don't feel a desire to smoke anymore. I don't feel a desire to use anymore. I don't feel this. I just want to be better. You know,
Wow.
um,
Whew.
and after I go through all of this, and I get out, um, I don't want you to pick me up. I'm gonna walk home, however far it is. I'm gonna look at every step that I took to get me here, and every step that I'm taking to get me away from here. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Wow.
Um, and so
Wow.
that
Dude,
was
that's deep. Wow. Wow. I'm telling you,
so
it's like you almost did your own scared straight. Like I'm gonna stay in here and I don't want to be in here. This is
Yeah.
but that's cool
yeah,
because you got a Bible. I love that. The first word in the beginning. Hey, wait, I got a new beginning. I mean, didn't need to read the rest at that point. You're kind of like, okay, here we go, let's start this. And I like that. You're walking
yeah,
home. Wow.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So
So
you felt, and that's what, you and I, when you and I were talking, because I think I had said kind of similar thing where I had done the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi for about a year and a half, and I'm smoking this crack pipe, or it was a speed pipe. And I looked at it and I said, this is not who I am. And bam, this energy just goes
yeah,
straight in the air off my shoulders. And I was just like looking around the room. I remember I was by myself and I just looked around the room. I'm like, what the hell was that? I'm like, I'm done. I'm good.
yeah,
And it was, just never, that was it. It was like 100% done.
that was
Like
it.
all the energy, and it felt like a physical,
Yeah,
visceral weight being lifted off my shoulders. And for me, it went straight in the air. It was really weird. It just felt like it was going, boom. And you had a similar
right.
sensation where you physically felt this almost like a monkey, like a pressure on your body just lifting up. And you were like, so you
Yeah,
didn't have any real,
I was standing straight.
uh-huh.
I was standing straight up. Like I've never felt that way ever
Yeah,
until that very moment. So I was
yeah,
like, wow, this
yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah. And so that you didn't have any stumbles or recurrences or any lapses or anything. It was gone, done, done.
It
Wow.
was done.
And you didn't feel
Yep.
any, you didn't have any symptoms or oh my God or Jonesing or any of that, right? You were pretty
No, and
clean.
I saw people screaming like inside of the cell.
Yeah.
I was like, when they were coming out of their own addiction, I saw them screaming, I
Mhm.
saw them cringing, I saw them like it was almost like this demon that was like
Yeah.
taking over
Yeah.
their body and they couldn't take it anymore. You know what I mean? That's the best way that I can describe that.
Mhm.
But I didn't have any one of those. I stood straight up and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And then so there's people in there like, hey, you want to join my car? This is like their gang inside of the
Yeah.
jail right there. And I was like, no, I'm like I just want to do my time and get out of here. That's
Yeah.
all I want to do. I don't want to be associated. I don't want to be connected. I'm gonna be cool with you, and we'll do whatever. But I just want to take my time in this moment and get myself out of here.
How long
And
were
that's
you in
it.
there?
It felt like years, but it was like only probably about 3 months.
Oh, it was 3 months. Wow. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
time. Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And after that, so your wife, who she was okay and she was willing to read the Bible with
She was
you and
yeah, she was so
continue to
supportive.
support you, and she's a little angel on
So
earth, huh?
right.
Yeah.
She's your angel.
I don't know where I'd be. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tell her all the time. I was like, I don't know where I would be if he didn't come save me.
yeah.
She
Like,
she took me
Yeah.
out of like I said, she took me out of the drug house that I was in. She would come knock on the door, and who are you? You looking for Chris? Like, Chris, get up off the ground. Somebody's here for you. But why is she here? I'm gonna kick your butt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes me want to
Wow.
cry. That's beautiful. That's some freaking love right there.
Yeah,
That's unconditional love right there,
Yeah.
man.
right, right. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow, 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 wow.
So
And so,
so
yeah,
I
so
go ahead.
go ahead.
What were you gonna ask? Okay, so I walked home. I met with my probation officer. I went through the entire process. I went to the courts, and they told me what my process was going to be. I needed 18 months of probation, and and so they're like, hey, you have to be here every month at the same time. You know what I mean? Go to court, follow the process, and I talked to the judge, and she was like, well. I talked to the judge personally, and I said, "Hey, I just want to be a better member of society. You know what I mean? I want to change. I'm a new dad of a daughter. Well, she actually wasn't born. I have a daughter on the way. I have a son, and I just want to be a better member of society." And she was like, "Well, if you are going to do what you say you're going to do, if you give me all cleans and you follow this process to the T, I'm going to expunge your entire case." And I was
Wow.
like, that sounds good, but what does expunge mean? Like,
Yeah. You're like, okay, good, but where are we going?
she's like,
Wow.
well, it's gonna come off your because I told her I said how do I become a better member of society? How do I get a job if I have a felony on my record?
Yeah.
you know. And then she was like, "Well, if you follow this to the T, I'm gonna get rid of this case for you." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean get rid of it? Is it going to be like off my record?" And she's like, "Well, the only person that can see it is the federal government. Any other companies, any state official, whatever, they can't see it. Only the federal government." And so I was like, "Okay, I can do this. We got a
Wow.
deal." So a year in the program goes. I go to all the NA classes and stuff like that, like I'm supposed to. I turn in my cards and I go meet with my probation officer um, because my wife um, tells me like 4 months till June of, was it 2006? She tells me, she's like, um, my mom wants to move to Fresno. We're in Monterey. She's like, my mom wants to move to Fresno, and I'm gonna go with her because she can't take care of us. You know what I mean? And I was like, what about me? You know, what about me? Like, you're gonna take away my kids? And she's like, well, you can come, but or you can stay. But the fact of the matter is, you can't take care of us. You know, so we're
Mm.
gonna have to go. But if you decide to stay, then you can come visit us whenever you want. We love you, right? But if you go, then we can make a new beginning, make a new life.
Oh.
And I was like, well, I'm gonna go. I'm
Mhm.
gonna go to Fresno. So I'm working. I found a job right out of jail, and they didn't look at any backgrounds or anything like that. But I found a job, and I sent a resume through a fax machine to a hotel, and they called me, and they were like, "We want to call you in for an interview." Drove 3 hours over here over here, had the interview, lasted 20 minutes. I was like, "Man, I failed." Right? They called me 20 minutes later, and then they were like, "We want to hire you." I was like, "Boss, I don't even know when I'm gonna move here yet." And he's like, "Well, we're gonna hold this job for you until you move
Wow.
here." And that was like
That's awesome.
March or April, right? March or April. And so I moved in 2006 in the heat of the summer, and I called boss and I was like, "Hey, I moved in." He's like, "Okay, well, get settled in, start the next day." So I start the next day. 3 weeks later, I meet with him. He's like, "Chris, I'm not going to be here no more. I want to be a teacher, so I'm leaving." And I was like, "Okay, well, thank you for the opportunity."
Hmm.
Day after that, the general manager calls me into the office, and she's like, "There's nobody else inside of this place that I want to be the supervisor except for you." You know, and I was like, "I don't know how to do this. I'm here." You know,
Yeah.
I'm still on probation during this time, by the way. I'm still on probation. So
Mm.
when I talked to my probation officer before I moved to Fresno, I said, "Hey, is there an opportunity for me to go?" And he's like, "Well, we don't do this. You have to finish your program and then you can move." And
Oh.
um, he's like, "But you've been so good that I don't have any problem. I just have to have my supervisor approve it." And so supervisor approved it, and he says, "Chris, you're good to move. You just got to show up to court every month on time, and you can't be late. You can't miss a day. If you do, then we're gonna have you come back home." I was like, "All right, you got it."
Wow.
So I
Everything
get
fell
this
into
job.
place.
Right. So 2005, incarcerated. 2006, moved to Fresno, get a job. Three weeks later, become the supervisor, and then you know, falling, going to my court dates by calling in sick when I have to go to work. I'm like, "Hey, I can't. I'm sick. I can't make it. I go to court and do my thing. Drive back home, and I continue that for the next 6 months until my time is up. You know, so from there, 2006. By 2010, I'm in another hotel. I'm now managing um, like a front office manager of two hotels, or wait, one and then two. And then I buy my first house, and then I get a car shortly after. I put myself into college shortly after that, and then it's just like all of these things that, like, who becomes an addict from '98 to 2005, gets a job, becomes a manager, gets a house, and all of these things in a matter of it's just amazing. And so the only thing I can attribute to that is that prayer that I had
Yeah.
in jail.
Yeah.
You know,
And then
Power
that's
of
the only
prayer.
thing that I
The
contribute that.
power of prayer.
Yeah,
But really
yeah,
sincere prayer,
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah,
sincere prayer. You meant it from the bottom of your heart. Um, and I think that that's that when you do the 12 steps, and I never really formally did it, but when you read it, right, it talks about
hmm
I screwed up my life, I made a mess, I can't fix it, and you
yeah,
kind of surrender, right? I'm going to surrender to this higher power, but
right,
and to me, that's why a lot of times you'll see addicts and people who have been at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom, and they literally have nothing else because they've literally burned off every bridge, every family member, every friend, all their money, all the, you know what I mean? They got
hmm
nothing. So they are literally at nothing. And so when they do that prayer, when they really do surrender, it's from the bottom of your heart, right?
yeah,
And then
hmm
the transformation can happen, right? Because it's kind of like the moment you open up,
right,
light rushes in, right? It's like you're
right,
blocking
yeah,
the reception. God is always there, whatever you want to call it. I don't even care, but right, there's always that
hmm
divinity ready to rush in. You have to unblock yourself, your pride and your ego
right,
and your
right,
all of that. And when you're able to let go of that, everything changes. But
yeah.
most of us can't do that very sincerely, right?
Mm-mm.
yeah,
And you were
yeah.
able to do that, and it still feels like it's still that way for you, right? I mean, it's that was
Every day, and I till this day, people walk up to me, and it's just that simple question, and most people lie, but how are you doing? And
Mhm.
it's like, oh, good, 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 but for me, I'm like, I'm better than I deserve, because I know where I should
Mm.
be. you
That's
know
awesome.
I I know where I put myself. I know what I did to hurt people. I know where I should be, but today I'm standing on the right side of the grass, and I'm able to support and help people. And now I'm managing a billion dollar company. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's just like, why me? Why the trust? And so that's why I'm so grateful, and I'm so thankful. I'm graceful, and I have so much compassion for other people, because now I can start to give back all the
Mhm.
things and be a blessing to other people.
Mhm.
Yeah. I like how, because you were talking about, well, as for some, you have that bottom moment. Yours just happened to be you hit a bumper and then ran. But then so instead of you could have been in jail and said, hey, bail me out, or you could have been in jail and just said, pity me. I'm gonna go down this dark road. You could have said, I'm done with my wife and kids. I want to be part of your gang. I'm just gonna. And even after you got out, your wife said, "Hey, we're leaving. We're going to go up here because you can't. We can't live here. Financially." You could have said, leave. I'm going to be my own person. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. But I love how you said, I'm owning up to it. First off, and two, I wrote a note here real quick. You did what you needed to do to fix it. Instead of going to the pity party,
hmm
you said, "No, what do I need to do? It's going to take me 3 months." Which is, no, I don't want to be in jail for 3 months. More power to you, by the way. I wouldn't know if I'd be able to do that. And then you
Yeah.
you trusted the process. You're like, hey, this is where I'm going to go.
hmm
And the way things fell into place, it's like, wow, because you were just willing to go, like, hey, I'm going to try this. I'm going to make it work, and you trusted it, and it worked. So that's awesome.
hmm
You didn't- So
Yeah,
kudos to you. Kudos.
yeah. It's not me. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
not
I
me.
know. I totally agree.
I'm
There's a
I
higher
am
higher
graced.
power, man, taking care of you. Yep, that's
Yeah,
awesome. So
I am graced, and so now I have a fast forwarding, I have a daughter who's in Long Beach State that I'm supporting, and I have a son
wow.
that's in the Air Force that's doing really well. So now I get to make up for lost time in a sense, and be the person that I want to be, but there's still flaws in my life, and there's still things that I can do better, but I just want to it comes with the realization that first off there was a problem,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and then there's something that you got to do about it. Don't stay in your filth. Don't
Mhm.
stay there.
Mhm.
Make the changes that you need to make.
Mhm.
Be a better version of yourself, and
Yeah.
it's a And so, I just, again, I'm graced to have the opportunity to now support and be there for other people. And that's my mission.
And have people come into your life that provided you that opportunity to be the mentor, the support for them and the role model or whatever you want to call it? Have you found
Um,
people kind of where that's happening for you or?
I kind of let it just happen, but yes,
Mhm, mhm,
in my church that I have men who want to get together and talk to their situations,
mhm.
and we kind of figure out a plan, and or at least just be an ear.
Yep.
They don't have to hear my opinions. They
Mhm.
just want to. Sometimes they just want to talk, and if they want
Mhm.
to talk, who they don't want to hear what I got to say. Like I could just be the blessing of just being an ear,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
and that's sometimes enough.
Absolutely.
You know.
And we've said that before. Sheldon and I have.
Yep.
There's the one that we talked about. Okay, us men always want to fix things, but sometimes it's like we have to ask: do you want me to listen?
Do you
Do you
just
want me
want
to help, or do you want me to fix it
yeah,
myself?
do you just want an
What
ear,
level am I
a
at?
loving
Yeah.
ear, a
Yeah.
compassionate ear, and that's all you
Mhm.
need? You don't need the plan?
Yeah.
And for
Right.
You're
guys,
good.
it's hard,
Just sit.
right? For guys, that's hard because 'cause we're all like, "Oh," especially if it's, your spouse or somebody, a
Mhm.
woman, you're like, "Ah!" They start
We'll
crying and
fix
you're
it.
freaking
Right.
out.
Wow, that's
"What do you
great.
need?
So
What do you need? Ah!"
you're you're kind of giving
Right.
back by just listening to people because you're having that opportunity to help them
Right.
in their own little way. Yeah, I love that part. That's great,
Yeah.
man.
Dave's pastor has a thing. What did he call it? The wolf pack, right? That
Wolf
was his
pack.
idea,
Hmm.
right? So last
Yeah.
episode we were wearing these wolf pack shirts, but that's kind of like what you're talking about, right? Where you can be the wolf pack for somebody else, and you have your own wolf pack of people that that were
Hmm.
there for you when you needed them, that kind of thing. But that
Right.
we all need community, and that's part of
Right.
what this whole thing was to be a kind of a digital community for somebody, even if they don't know you, they can listen and hear your story and find inspiration from it. It's a powerful story, right? To me, it's like the power of really sincere, true prayer,
Hmm.
like freaking from the bottom of the heart. Like it makes me want to
Yeah.
cry just talking about it. But that,
Yeah.
that thing about getting on your knees too, for me, I remember when the first time I ever did that, it was just like, the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean? And there's a part of there's a part of your body that's almost fighting it. But then as a dude, as
Yeah.
a guy, getting on my knees, like, and I was in my
Yeah.
bedroom and I just did it by myself. And I remember just getting on my knees and just like, fuck, like I need help, you know. And there's a purity in that when you really are doing it from that place that is
Mm.
transformative, and
Hmm.
it's opening you up, right? And that's what you
Yeah.
did too, right? It's the same
Right.
thing. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like,
I love Chris how you said, I don't know how to pray. You just say,
yeah,
hey, God help
yeah,
me. You don't have to know, all the
anything.
Catholic
Yep,
prayers or all
yep,
whatever religion
yep,
it is or whatever
yep,
a belief. You don't
Yeah.
have to just say, I need help.
yep,
I need to get out of this. What do you want me to do? Help me get through it.
yep.
And boom.
It's
And
the
then
purity
And
and
we
the
can do that.
sincerity.
yeah.
It's one of those things that we can do for each other in a sense too. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? It's like,
Hmm.
hey, let me get to my vulnerable state. Let me tell
Yep.
you, as a man, because there's even that song. I don't know if you ever heard it, but it's by an artist named Dax. To be a man. It's one of those things where our job sometimes only is appreciated by what we bring to the table.
Mm,
As men, so some people just don't care. You come home and it's like, oh, um, I worked 15 hours today, so that way we can have something better. And it's like, oh, what else can you do? You
Yeah.
know?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, wait, I
Yeah.
just did that. You want more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do that? Oh, you forgot to do this. Oh shit, or whatever, right?
Right,
And you're like, yeah.
right.
What's the name of that song? Dat.
It's
It's
it's last artist name is Dax DAX, and it's called "To Be a Man." And I think the the main singer from Hootie and the Blowfish was a part of that
mm,
song too as well. He had his own verse, but
mm.
it's pretty cool.
Nice,
Oh
nice,
wow.
I'm
nice,
all
nice.
giving shout out to Dax.
Yeah,
There you go.
awesome, awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
We all find inspiration everywhere, right? We all
Mhm.
find that
Right.
thing that helps, helps
Yeah.
you. Um,
Yeah, we've talked about books. I've talked about songs. Me too. Some
yep.
Christian songs that like woke me up. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's the cool thing. I love how your wife was your original wolf pack, which obviously marriage gets your wolf pack no matter what. But even in the darkest time, she's like, "Okay, I got you. We're gonna get through this."
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
she could have said like, "No, okay, yeah, I'm letting you stay there, and no, I'm not reading the Bible with you. I'm out of here.
Yep.
We're gonna
Yeah.
go live with mom. I'm taking the kids, and
Right.
we're skedaddling." Um, and she supported you staying there for 3 months. Wow.
Right.
Man, I want to meet her
Right.
because she's. I want to meet a saint on earth, man, because she's a saint, an angel and saint all in one.
And
So,
I tell my
kinda,
kids too,
woo.
because we shared, we believed in sharing everything that we went through with our kids. So
Mm,
when they go through something, they know that we're not perfect people, that
Mm.
we had flaws, that we made mistakes,
mhm,
um, that they can go and talk to us, even though sometimes it's difficult, and as a father, for me, it's sometimes I can give a lot of pressure, and it's just because it's like, well, I remember when I did this, and I don't want you to have the same mistakes. It's kind of sincere. It's really sincere in regards to the way that I'm going about it, but I could just like kind of just push back and
Yeah.
settle down, and you know what
Yeah.
I mean.
To the kid, it feels like you're telling me what to do or whatever, right?
Right. Right.
But Chris, I love that because just as a family, I mean, it's good to start that early. But for a family for you to be one vulnerable and be open and say, "Hey, this is where we were. This is what we did," and talk through some situations that allows them, as you said, to be able to come talk to you. It's not like,
Hmm.
well, I can't go talk to dad because you don't talk. You've never talked. But I got to tell him about
Right.
this. I'm having a hard time. That's just a normal conversation. Hey, dad, guess what? Oh, man, I'm ran into this today. I need some help. I want to talk about this. Okay, let's talk about it. Other
Yeah.
than him being fearful talking to dad, it's an open
Right.
dialogue. And I love that. That's huge for a kid in life and for the family,
Yeah.
but for that kid.
Right.
So, man, I like that.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Cool stuff. I mean, and that it's that power of, we've talked about this in other episodes. A couple of themes that keep coming up is just being who you are, truly are, authentically you, right? And I've heard another spiritual teacher talk about being humans are perfectly imperfect. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
The one thing that we're
Hmm.
perfect at is our imperfection, right? We
That's
all,
imperfection. Yeah.
you know, we all have our, imperfections or qualities that we can, do better next time or you know what I mean? Do better tomorrow and whatever you want to call it, right? Um, so kind of accepting that within ourselves, but also being true to who you are as a person, right?
Yep.
Being your
Mhm.
version of you, hey, I want to be the best version of me, but I'm not trying to be anybody else. And then the
Hmm.
vulnerability and being open about who you are and sharing that with others, which it takes a lot of courage even to share this story, Chris. So, I really
Right.
appreciate you, sharing it with us. It's a powerful story. It's a beautiful, I mean, I
Yes.
hate when I say it's beautiful and you've been through so much shit. You know what I
I
mean?
know.
Because it sounds like, oh man, being a jail is beautiful. But that
Yeah.
Yeah.
that transformative story of how did you do it? And everyone's
Mhm.
Right.
different about how they did it. Um,
Right. Well,
but
the whole testimony comes from the root word test, right? So,
yeah,
Mm.
you
right.
Yep.
you had to go through some type of struggle in order to have a story to tell. Sometimes, you know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes. I
Yeah.
never even thought about it like that. That's beautiful. Yeah, that you accepted your test when it hit. You didn't for a
Right.
while, just like
Mhm.
all
Yeah.
of us. I think mine was kind of almost a similar time period. I think I started in 99 and went through like '05, something like that. And
Hmm.
Wow. Yeah. Same here.
well, kind of same here. That's why when we first met, and when I was like telling stories, I'm like, oh, you had that thing. Cause I think I might have told you about the energy thing. And you're like, yeah, that's what happened to me when I was in jail. I was like, what? I've never
Yeah.
talked to anybody. And they had the same feeling. Like it's a physical feeling of this, like, or you might have told me
Right.
first. And I was like, holy shit, that's what happened to me. So it was kind of wild. Um,
Right.
That's awesome.
uh, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Each one of us are like, walking miracles. You know,
Mhm.
obviously coming from birth and stuff like that. But you know, some people don't have the opportunity and I think that that's the beautiful thing about this podcast is the fact that, real people are talking about real things, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And, some people don't have the opportunity to be able to express that to anybody.
Mhm.
And just to be able to have a platform to just listen to and hey, I like if nobody, hopefully just one person gets something out of that. That's kind of
Right.
like my goal and ever discussing, my life.
Mhm.
Maybe one person might be affected.
Yeah.
But it's just a beautiful thing. Because who's talking about who's talking about this stuff as
Right.
men, like
Right.
really who's really talking about this stuff.
Right.
Hmm.
And
Where
and
we
it's
keep
a
it short because men
it's a
don't talk
problem.
about this stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And like Sheldon tells his story, I told my story, you tell your story. Three different people may get something. May not get the same person because we all have different life stories. But
Mhm.
one person, two people, whatever people hear yours, like, hey, I'm in that path. I
Mm.
can do this.
Yeah.
Boom,
Hmm.
and they don't have to hit that rock bottom. Hopefully,
Right.
Yeah.
before they go like, hey, I know he hit rock bottom, but I can do this before rock bottom.
Yeah.
I can do this. Let's
Right.
go. Boom,
Yeah.
and that helps. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate you talking
That
because
they,
I,
yeah,
yeah.
that they might see, matter of fact, last time we were talking about Reese's rock bottom, rock bottom, rock bottom. I meant to say
Mhm.
that what you're saying, Dave, which is that part of us sharing this is that maybe somebody doesn't have to hit rock bottom.
That's our whole goal.
Maybe, maybe they can
Yep.
Yeah.
see that and go,
Yeah.
and like you said, I see the signs. I'm kind of trending, you
Hmm.
know. I had
Yep.
a woman who was, a drug addict in her addiction with me, and we used to hang out. She was pretty hardcore, heroin and crack, and but she used to have the saying, she'd go, play it out, play this out, because she would always try to stop other people from following her path. She was actually really sweet like that. And I remember a dude who wanted to hang out with her, and didn't care and wanted to throw his whole life away. And she's just like, play this thing out. Play this out. How does this end? It doesn't end well. It ends with you doing this, and it ends with you in jail, and it ends with it's like, yeah, this sounds fun right now. It's a little party, but play this thing out.
Yeah.
It's not what you think, kind of thing. And she would say that, and that's kind of, um,
That's what
this
Chris
can
was telling
be
us this. Yeah.
in a good way, right? The inspiration to say, hey,
Hmm.
you can change, and things can
Yeah.
change, and there's always, and don't ever estimate the power of prayer.
Hmm.
Do not ever underestimate the power of
Underestimate. Yeah.
one real, oh gosh, keep
Yep.
making me want to cry, of one really powerful from the bottom of your heart sincere prayer can change
Yeah.
everything,
Went
Hmm.
that last week with my dad.
Right.
And I had
Yeah.
everybody praying for him. Went from talking hospice to like, there's no problem. 2 days later, I'm like, what do you mean there's no medical problem? Like
Yeah.
pneumonia, and we're talking
No,
hospice. So it was all
I had the
God. That's
same.
all it was. So,
Go ahead.
I had
but
the same situation. My mother, she has dementia, and so there was a time where she got COVID, and she didn't really take it well, and she was like, "Hey, I don't want to do this anymore.
mm,
I want to call it quits." And then, so the care center that she's at, they called me, and they're like, "Well, do you want to put her on hospice care?" And I was like, "Well, are we at that point already? You know what I mean? Let me
mm,
talk to her first, and let me find out what she feels and what she wants, because maybe she doesn't want this. You know what I mean?" And so I talked to her, and she's like, "No, I don't want to go. I don't want to keep on going." And I was like, "Okay, well, let me ask you that serious question. Do you want to? Do you have a DNR? Do you want to? Do you want to keep that on there? Do you want me to get rid of it?" And she's like, "Yeah, get rid of it. I don't want it." I was
mm.
like, all right, in hospice care, that's what you want? She's like, yeah, that's what I want. And I was like, okay, can we call the family and find out if, have them see you before you go and stuff like that? And she's like, yeah, let's invite everybody. So on a weekend, a bunch of us came over, and it was just like a light switch.
Wow.
The doctor said people graduate from hospice care, and I was like, why are you giving me hope? You know what I mean? She
Yeah.
told me that she doesn't want to go. Why are you giving me hope? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then she was like, well, I'm just telling you that some people graduate. And I was like, do you think that, like, why are we even talking about this? Do you think that she has an opportunity? She's like, well, it's going to be her decision. Right. And I was like, well, then why are we talking about this? Let it happen. You know what I mean? And so
You're like, you're the one who put her in there to begin with.
Wow.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
That's awesome.
so
Wow.
so all the family comes over. All the family comes over, and it's like a light switch. She's like this whole different person. She graduated from hospice care,
Wow.
you know, and now she's, I think it's like 2.5 years now that she's been going
Wow.
since that time.
Wow. Praise God on that one, man. She got 2.5 more years minimum.
And we had a little technical glitch there for a split second. Chris was out, so he's back. And we were on Dave getting to the point where he was just going to do the homework assignment because Dave was a high school teacher for 30 years and he can't stop it.
I got to give homework.
So what are the polls? What are the takeaways, Dave?
Coming right off of what Chris was talking about, I mean, if you're no matter where you are, and if you've seen Chris's thing and you go like, hey, I don't want to hit rock bottom, admit where you are, just admit it and stop and don't dwell in your pity. Do what you need to fix it. So just go admit it. Don't go into the dark rabbit hole. Just say, okay, I at least admitted it. Now do what you need to fix it, and then trust the process. It's going to take some time. I mean, as Chris said, it took a little time for him. So admit it. Don't dwell. Do what you need to fix it, and then trust the process. It's going to take some time, and find those to help you. So a little extra credit. This is a big family thing. This is why it's extra credit, because if the family can do it. I love what Chris talked about is talk with your family. Be open about where you've come from. So then your kids will understand like, hey, they're normal. They're not like perfect people. We are perfect people, but you know what I mean? Yeah, they have problems too. So they process through it. So I can go to them and talk to them and process through my problems with them. So, so those are the big things. That's your homework and extra family credit. So if you can get there. So otherwise, thank you, Chris, for being here, man. I love hearing your story. And
Powerful
thanks for
story.
opening up.
Yeah,
give your wife a hug for us. I don't know who she is, but give her a huge hug because I'm glad that she kept you here on Earth, that we could, hang out with you and talk. So
yeah,
absolutely.
So
awesome. It's great to see you, Chris.
Of course.
Thanks for sharing your story, brother. It's cool. It's powerful and beautiful, and I know that it will touch the right people that it needs to. So
thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Certainly. We'll hopefully maybe have you back sometime soon to talk some more.
All right.
So you guys all have a great week out there. Keep that smile on and have a great one.
Take care.
Have a good one.